Okay. Another Saturday. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, okay, today. So, this is the third Saturday. I think Sunday. This is your first time, right? Yes, first time. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. So, I will just go straight to this Saturday. We're looking at monetization. Those of us that, this is like, Chigozie. This is like, Chigozie. So I'm Chigozie. Basic introduction. I'm founder of Skill to Scale, and we are trying to help change the economy of Africa by empowering people with digital skills. Skills that they can use to make money, not just build careers. And so this is like training here in Abuja. Nice to meet you. Okay, so I wouldn't give us a head start on social media because we already understand what social media is. What I want to talk about today is majorly around what is possible with social media when you have to be making money. You understand? And I would love to give very practical examples. We call them case studies in business, where you use somebody's success to tell another person how they can be successful. You understand? And so I'm going to categorically use a number of people that I have come across, and some of them that I've been able to study over the years, to give us the various things. And then I'm going to use, I told us today we are going to focus on platforms. We'll start from YouTube, and then we are going to move to TikTok, and then we are going to move to Facebook, and then finally do IG. We may get to LinkedIn if time permits us. Okay, this is just going to be about an hour. It's not going to be so long. So there are so many like transformational things that there are just so many things that are involved in social media. And one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is how much work it takes. And why some people, because when people online want to sell things to you, they categorically make sure they are trying to sell it to you. So they tell you all the good part of it, $5,000, $200, you understand, and all that. But every single monetization pathway starts with one principal thing: building an audience, which on YouTube is going to be subscribers, on TikTok is followers, on Facebook followers, on Instagram followers, on LinkedIn followers. But they are categorically the same thing. If you know, which is what we looked at social media mastery, you guys will need to go and watch a video of last week where we looked at social media mastery. Social media mastery is basically how you can do this. How can you build followers on any platform using one principle? You understand? Irrespective of whatever platform you're using, it works. So we thought that last week and broke it down. Today we are going to be looking at monetization. So my assumption is everybody here has an idea of what they want to do and how they want to succeed online. So if you don't have an idea, it is going to be a bit difficult, but that's what I'm going to assume. And then I'm also going to assume that you are trying to make money as fast as possible. I'm sure a lot of us like that assumption, right? Good. So one of the things that you must not do is there's this limiting syndrome we place on ourselves when it has to do with making money from social media. We categorically want to copy what other or how other people are making money. One thing you should know about every industry is the people who are relatively making the most amount of money, they are not talking about it. They are not selling courses, they are not selling programs. Do you understand? They are just making their money. And so most people who do a lot of talking and have a lot of conversations about, this is how to make money, those are the people that are on their way to making the money and they have made it too big, so they are using their social proof to revenue streams, you understand? Now, the practical way to look at it would be one person could be there running a social media marketing agency. I have a mentor of mine, his company is 6 years or 7 years now. They are in 4 countries, including the UK, Uganda, and he started with social media marketing. This is the same social media everybody's talking about, but somebody else is looking for how they can make $500 of social media, and somebody else has built an over 10 million billion naira a year in annual revenue from an agency. Do you understand? It just depends on what you really want to get. You understand? And how you want to be able to build everything. Does it make sense? And so it's 100% important you get that. It's the way you're thinking about it. Is it the best way to approach it for myself? Do you understand? So I can be thinking about social media and I'm like, I just want to make money from YouTube, you understand? And then buy car, and then buy laptop and settle down and get. But the way and I know some people don't like the way this sounds, but my opinion will always be build and then monetize, which is more like make sure you are able to get some kind of significant traction from. A practical example would be this. Let me tell you, Stephen Barley. I talked about him last week. He has a podcast. The podcast is called Diary of a CEO. Diary of a CEO. That's the name of the podcast. He started the podcast when he was the CEO of a social media company, social chain. And then he sold the company to another company and he didn't like how it was again and then left the company. So he had a few millions in dollars and he wanted to start from scratch. And then he started a podcast. Now the podcast, he had money, remember. So I talked about leverage last week, right? I talked about leverage, which are, you guys need to make sure you watch those teachings last week and last 2 weeks, because I said success in social media is made up of 2 things. One is skills. The more skills you have, for instance, you have graphic design, you're going to do better in monetizing social media than somebody who doesn't have any digital skill at all. You understand? You're right, you're going to do better than somebody who doesn't have any digital skill at all. If somebody has video editing as a skill, the person will do better too. You understand? So the more skills you have, the more advantage you have. Do you understand? The second is leverage. And leverage can mean so many things. It can mean you have more money. You understand? I gave an example of when my company wanted to learn YouTube, we had $1 million to invest. So we bought YouTube channels, we bought devices, we like invested into YouTube, you understand? You could do 100, 200 gigabytes a month and we're fine. And this is like 4 years, 5 years ago. And so the whole idea is that a lot of people do not consider leverage as part of what they need to succeed. Everybody, for instance, somebody who has good relationship, which is more like, I have a mentor who knows social media very well, you understand? And then that mentor can teach me without me paying. I'm way better off than somebody who have to probably pay skill to scale, you understand, for mentorship, and still need to, do you get the whole point? Or, like I have a friend who owns a Forex company now. If I want to do Forex, if somebody else will be paying him $500, $1,000 for coaching, you understand? I'll just call and say, well, how you did now? If you follow you for 2 weeks, you understand? And then you get the point. So this is what we call leverage. So don't monetize where you have leverage. Do you understand? And this is what I tell a lot of people. If you have a graphic skill, some platforms do better with graphics than the others. If you want to now, without the CapCut skills, or you can't be editing skills, you want to go into YouTube or TikTok and monetize fast, there's a problem with that. You understand? And so, speed and results depends on these 2 things. This is just like a summary of some of the things we do and we did very, very well last week, okay? So, this guy started the podcast, invested in the podcast, like put money inside it. That podcast today is doing 20 million every year. $20 million every year. No, but that's not the thing. The thing is this. He had built a system around the podcast. Like, he has what we call, I talked about it last week, an experimental team. They call it failure and experimentation department. So the only thing they do is they try to fail. like somebody wins an award if you fail the most every week. The reason is because social media is about, I talked about it last week also, change and iteration. How fast can you learn and follow trends? So he has built a formula for building podcasts. He started from 0 subscribers to currently he's at 10 million on YouTube. He's the second most listened podcast in the world after Joe Rogan. So this guy has built relationship. There's no, Michelle Obama was on his podcast last week. There is no big name he wants to call that wouldn't want to be. That's a podcast CEOs listen to. Do you understand? It took him 5 years, hundreds of thousands of dollars, you understand? Today, he has built an entire company that helps people build podcasts, and they're literally going to make, relatively this company will be worth $1 billion in a few years. $1 billion, I mean. Do you understand? Now, a Nigerian and an African is going to start a podcast, you understand? And then they will start by selling chewing gum on it. Because they want to monetize it very fast, you understand? Like, the way we think about things is that we don't even think about what it can be. Do you understand? And so we sacrifice long-term benefits from, this is not a very popular thing people want to tell you, especially when they want to make money from you or anything. But why we don't have very significant social media groups in Nigeria? People are making money off social media, but how many people have built empires on it? Unlike in Europe. Millions, you understand? And this is what I've been trying to inspire. I know it doesn't sound so popular because some of you may think you don't have time and all that, but trust me, like, it is 100% possible. And you can still make small money while you are looking at that as a vision, you understand? To build an entire empire from it. So, there are so many things, I can't even tell the series of examples. I can start from podcast and go down to people who started on Instagram. Some people started by posting motivational stuff, you understand? Or people who started on YouTube with vlogs. They wanted to do vlog. Or the biggest YouTuber in the world who started by counting 100,000 on camera. 1 to 100,000. And people were watching him and this is that guy crazy. I went on the road, the first money they paid him, he carried it and dashed the man and videoed it and everybody was watching the video. And now he literally is worth $1 billion from having one YouTube channel with 365 million subscribers. You get, so my way of introduction is saying one important thing. As much as I know you can make money from social media, I still would love that Nigerians and people across Africa think a little bit bigger than just making chicken change, you understand? $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, that is good money, you understand? But there is a whole lot of possibilities that we can actually do. So now let's look at TikTok. Let's look at YouTube monetization. Okay? So let's look at YouTube monetization. We talked about it last week, that every platform has monetization, various opportunities for making money on the platform. So there are some platforms that primarily, I'm going to just list, then I will explain, okay? So we'll just do a little bit of listing, and then I'm going to now go deep into explaining. Let's see. Okay, so the various ways you can make money using, and this applies to all social media platforms. Let me just remove YouTube. So I'm going to just do monetization, and then I'm going to use red. Let it be a little bit separate from what I'm already writing here. So we have the one. Number one is what we call direct monetization, which is usually ad revenue, or when the platform pays you themselves, you understand? So this is what a lot of people show you their dashboard. You get, when you see $200, $500 and all that, this is what people show you their dashboard. Now the second is affiliate ad revenue. Ads, yeah. The second is affiliate marketing. I know we know affiliate marketing as a skill set on its own, but it's also a revenue model when it has to do with monetization. The third is what we call memberships. Membership/communities. So membership and communities. The fourth is where we call products and services. I can make it separate because they are significant enough to be kept separate. Know what it's going to take you to do that, the consistency. They don't put a time frame, so it's not as simple as that. It's that you have to get it in 365 days. Like this thing has to happen in 365 days.
1 year.
Yes, 1 year. So if you have gotten, there's no need explaining that anyway. So
I'm on 3.4.
Is that what?
I'm on 3.4.
Okay, you're on
I'm
3.4.
scared that it will soon be up.
Okay. That's why you were very concerned about it last week. Okay, so if we are streaming live now, let's assume this particular stream that we're having right now has 1,000 watch hours out of the 4,000, and I have 3,000 left for me to be monetized. You understand? But by this time next year, I've gotten an extra 3.5. You understand? I've gotten just an extra 3.5. Like that is, it's now 3,500. It's not up to, you understand? Remember, by this time next year, as soon as it's 365 days from today, this 1,000 has expired.
You start calling by me.